Alright everyone, so today I wanted to showcase a team that I've been using that has just been absolutely crushing it when it comes to killing ESCANOR, and it's actually really good at not just killing red ESCANOR, it's also very good at killing teams that have green ESCANOR as well, and you're actually seeing a ton of both versions out there. Red ESCANOR being a staple of mono red right now, but green ESCANOR is out there a lot because green ESCANOR is not bad to actually kill himself, the red version of him. You can use the Cruel Sun to end up removing the crazy HP buff and Arthur buffs that red ESCANOR has. So this team is good at both of them. So if tons of dead ESCANORs is going to satisfy you, this team is going to be the one for you. And I wanted to go ahead and step in here to Champion 2. And afterwards, I wanted to explain some really important information about this team and how it works really well together if you decide to try it out yourself. And if you're looking at it, what is this? Lilia in the middle right there. We've got a mono red human team, except for it's not mono red, it's blue Lilia there in the middle. So I know it looks crazy, but this team works super, super well together. Like, it's actually shocking how well this team works. So all the pieces really fit together pretty much perfectly, and I'll explain that after the match here. So let's head in and let's see who we are faced up against and whether we are going to go first or go second. And I'll try to explain a little bit while I'm actually in the encounter as well, but I don't want to get too distracted, of course. Looks like we are going first, and we are up against red ESCANOR here. So the cool thing about this team is I do not need to rely on Arthur's RNG. I actually just use the Arthur card on turn 1 right there. And we are going to go after... You never go after red ESCANOR. That's like the trap mistake right there. And we don't have a healer, so we can just do this. With his crazy 50% HP buff, it's just, you don't go after red ESCANOR. It's basically a waste of a turn, right? And we didn't really draw the best cards, unfortunately. It looks like if I drew another decent card... Does he have that? He emoted. I'm guessing that means he has the double buff, right? He's got the level 3 buff. Does he? No, he doesn't. Okay, I don't know why he emoted. Maybe he was happy about that turn. I don't really know. But this is this is not a great turn. I'm trying to think here. Is there a way I can actually kill red Arthur? Let's see if... this might not do it. That's 450% damage, because he's probably going to end up getting his buff. Oh, you know what? This might actually do the trick here, which is good, because then we do not have to worry about the red Arthur buff. Come on, it's going to be close. Oh, no. Oh, man, this is going to be tragic if he's got the red Arthur buff. Don't do it to me, man. Don't do it to me. That was level 2. I did not see the debuff immunity, so it's not as bad as it could have been. But it's still bad, obviously. But it could have been a lot worse. Okay, the worst thing is that we do not have a buff renewal here. But either way, this should be a pretty good turn. So, you know what I can do here is let's do this. I do not know if that is going to be enough AoE damage to... And you know what? It might default to ESCANOR, so I've got to actually play it safe here. So what I'm going to do is do this, and then do this right here. Because if I don't do it that way, it's going to default to ESCANOR, and I'm just going to have that damage go to waste, if that makes sense. So I have to be really careful about my actual targeting. Okay. So he's got to deal with the Lilia right now. Which, unless he's got... really lucky with his cards, I don't think, considering that she's blue, he's not going to be able to kill her. I really hope I'm... That's fine. Okay, so it's definitely not going to happen now. My Arthur might go down, but that's fine. Okay, and I did not get an Arthur buff either. So this turn is... You know what? I hope that he made the mistake and held on to some cards here. Because if not, I might end up being in a bit of trouble here with the ESCANOR. There's no way I'm going to be able to kill it, so... He didn't make that mistake. I was wondering what card he had there, but doesn't look like it was an ESCANOR card. So is he going to be greedy, try to go for my Escanor here? You might actually be able to kill it. If he's a whale and he's got a maxed out Escanor, like my Escanor is only 1 out of 6, so it would not, my ultimate would not kill it. Like if it was mine against his. But if he's a whale, oh no, he's playing it safe, he's killing Arthur, which is fine. I don't need my Arthur anymore. It's unfortunate that he drew into the Arthur buff right as he killed him, but what do we draw? Ooh, that's a great card to draw right there. Oh, man, this is why I love this team, is because we have Blue Lilia. We swapped into Hauser here, and a great time to get Hauser's card, too. Absolutely perfect. So, do you want to go crazy AoE? All right, let's go for it. We might be able to actually finish it off here. This is a greedy, but it's the end of the match. Oh, yeah. Actually, it's over. Why was I second guessing myself? It is very, very over. So this team works really well against Red Escanor, Green Escanor. It's absolutely awesome. And what I wanted to do here is let's head back to the Boar Hat, and I want to explain some important stuff about this team if you guys decide to actually try it out yourself, and why it works so well together, because all the pieces of the puzzle, you guys will see here in a second, they fit so well with this team, and you don't have to rely on that crazy RNG like you do with the typical mono red team, where, you know, you're really hoping for that level 3 Arthur buff on your first turn. Like, it's such a gamble, I guess you could say. Alright, let's head back to the Boar Hat and I'll explain a little bit more. Alright, we are back in the Boar Hat in my usual spot, so let's open up the team that I just used in PvP and talk about some important stuff about it that you're going to want to know, especially if you decide to try it out yourself. So, let's talk about Blue Lilia first, because she's really the unit here that sticks out the most, right? You've got a full red team, but then right here in the middle, you've got Blue Lilia. And notice how she is actually in the middle in this main spot. Positioning does make a difference in this team, and you actually want to probably try to put her in the middle. I guess you could do it this way as well. I think that's okay. I still like this version better, but you do want to have Red Arthur here on the very right. And Hauser, of course, is going to be the subunit. Now, I also have the exact same team here for Elite PvP. Obviously, I have my gear equipped, and I actually noticed against teams that have roughly the same amount of combat class as me, I think the Elite version works even better than the normal version, and it has to do with Blue Lilia's passive. So, Blue Lilia's passive, right? It's the one that gives you pierce rate to all your team members equal to half her pierce rate. And a lot of people don't really realize that this unique here, even if you're not using a Pierce team specifically, like Blue Demon Meliodas, Hauser in the main, it's still an incredibly good passive. It's still going to give you extra damage. Now, obviously, you're going to get the most benefit from her unique on Pierce type abilities, like Hauser's skill right here, his Rising Storm, because you get triple the pierce rate increase, but still, you get a bunch of extra damage even on any other skill. And Escanor actually has a ton of base pierce rate as well. This is another reason why you just see his abilities hit for so hard. Even the green version, right? Right now I'm showing 92.5%. I believe Escanor's base pierce rate is 80%, which is crazy, right? So that's one thing right there, and that is going to apply to all your team members, give you a bunch of extra damage. But now let's get into her actual skill kit, right? Because she does have a heal ability. And her rank 2 heal is also going to allow you to remove debuffs. This gives you a great way to work around attack seal, which in the typical mono red lineup is pretty difficult to actually deal with. Technically, you can use Red Arthur's level 3 buff, but that's going to be tough to work around, and having Lilia's heal is going to make that a lot easier. Now, her first skill here as well is super important because it is an AoE that has that ultimate deplete on rank 2, and it's actually the exact same card as Red Escanor. He has the same thing, and that's going to be this ability right here, 150%, and then the rank 2 depletes the rank 3, bumps up the damage quite a bit, and now depletes 3 instead of 1. And this ability is important for lots of different reasons. I'm talking about both the Escanor version and also the Lilia version. Now, first of all, it gives you the ability to deal with ultimates incredibly well, that you now have 2 units that have this rather than 1. So with that, you really shouldn't have any problem whatsoever with your enemies really threatening you with ultimates one-shotting you, putting you in extremely awkward situations. So that's one part of it right there. But the other thing is it's an AoE, and even though it might not seem like a lot, it's 150%. If you're attacking 3 units, that's 450%. That's a lot of damage, and with this team, you're going to get an insane amount of lifesteal. So what that's going to do is it's going to allow you to heal an insane amount with these AoE abilities for both Lilia and also for ESCANOR, because everybody in this team is a human. Everyone is going to benefit from Arthur's unique, right? And then on top of that, just as an added bonus, you have even more healing if you need it from Blue Lilia as well. So survivability for this team is through the roof. Dying should really not be a big problem, and by the time one of your units dies like Red Arthur, I think that most enemy teams are going to be going for Red Arthur as the target unit. You know, obviously you don't want to start off with Red ESCANOR because of his crazy 50% extra HP and lifesteal. And, you know, I think a lot of people are kind of caught off guard by Blue Lilia, and everybody just knows that they go for Red Arthur first. So by the time that Red Arthur dies, you should have gotten all the stuff that you really need out of him, and you're still going to have your Red ESCANOR and your Blue Lilia probably at a very high amount of HP, right? So that's that right there. Now, getting back to Red ESCANOR, we've talked about one of his abilities, but not this one right here. And the thing is, this is the ability that is going to benefit an insane amount from Arthur's buff. But the thing that I didn't like about the typical mono red team is having to rely on RNG to wait for the level 3 version. It's super powerful, I will not lie. Obviously a lot more powerful than the level 1 version. But because Red ESCANOR is really the only unit that insanely benefits, the level 1 version is fine. We just want to place it up and get the extra damage from this. Use these abilities, try to heavily damage or kill a unit on turn 1 if you can, but if not, if you can end up killing Red Arthur on turn 2, you are good to go. And even if Red Arthur ends up getting his actual level 3 buff, you should still be able to kill him on turn 2 and just really swing the match in your favor a whole lot. So you really only need Red Arthur's level 1 buff for the extra damage for this. So obviously, his unique is insane. You want to try to use as many of his cards early on, because while this buff is active, not only does it increase his survivability an insane amount, but it's also going to give him that insane amount of lifesteal. So basically, anytime he does a reasonable amount of damage, it's almost like he ends up getting a full heal. That's how powerful this is. It also adds to the damage of his Blazing Sun, which means you want to use these cards even more towards the start of the match. So this is really like your main DPS unit, but he's also a massive tank, and he's gonna basically not die as well. So it's a great combination to have your biggest damaging unit and also your most survivable unit right at the start of the match right there, right? And now getting to Red Arthur, you've got his buff, of course, and you don't have to worry about, you know, having the level 3 version come up and then getting destroyed by Green ESCANOR's, you know, Cruel Sun, right? That's not how this team works, and if that does happen, you will probably be able to draw into another level 1 by then, or you just don't even need it at that point in the match anyway. So his first ability here is probably going to be the ability that you use the least. If you need the Disables Recovery skill, that's fine, but generally, even just using the level 1 version of it for that extra damage should be fine. And Red Arthur's passive here is insane. Like, with this team, almost, I don't know most of the usefulness, but an insane amount of the usefulness of Red Arthur in this team is the passive. Because you are using 4 humans, they're all going to get that 50% HP boost, but it's HP related stats, so they're going to get lifesteal and I think regeneration and recovery as well. So absolutely crazy passive, works so well together with this team. And finally, you've got Red Hauser here in the back. And Red Hauser also has an insane unique here. Human allies basic stats by 8%. Perfect. We've got 4 humans in this team. They are all going to benefit the maximum from his unique. So that's just more damage and more survivability. But also, he is the only unit in this team that actually does have a Pierce type skill. And going back to that point that I mentioned, most teams are going to go after Red Arthur, right? They don't really know what to do with Blue Lilia, so a lot of the times, if your Red Arthur dies, your Red Hauser comes out, and you still have Blue Lilia, you still get the bonus for the Pierce, and your enemies are going to be really surprised when you use this ability and it hits an insane amount of damage. So even if you don't get to an opportunity to use him, or if it doesn't go according to plan, just the unique alone and his added utility is going to make him super useful and absolutely worth the slot in a team like this. So you can see how all the abilities and all of the uniques just work so well together, and this team has just been absolutely crushing it. I think I've had, out of 15 matches or so with this team, I've had maybe 1 or 2 losses, and they were to just the worst RNG with cards, like just absolutely tragic. So I'm expecting this team to be pretty good for a while, and if you guys want to try it out, now you guys know all the info. So that's basically going to be it for the video, though. I hope that you guys enjoyed. This was a fun and informative video, and if you guys did and you want more videos like this in the future, consider subscribing to the channel. Feel free to leave a quick like as well. It means more than you can imagine. So thank you so much to all of you who decide to do that. And more Grand Cross Global videos should be popping up on the screen right about now, or in the suggested videos to your right or below. Feel free to check them out. More videos, guides, tutorials, all that fun stuff like this. But if not, until next time, take care, everyone. This is Salt of the Salty Guild, signing out.